Are you serious? The water wars are going on, folks, between Ethiopia and Egypt. And absolutely, the Isaiah chapter 19 scriptures are being fulfilled before our very eyes. First of all, as you know, the idols of Egypt have been moved at the presence of the Lord. It happened in Manchester, England. These idol gods that had been taken out of a pharaoh's tomb and for 80 years have been sitting in a museum in Manchester, England. All of a sudden, the God of the dead, the God that guards the Nile, the God of the underworld, the God of the all-seeing eye, Orisis, Orisis, started spinning, and it's on film. It's unbelievable, and I talked about it. I showed it on my show yesterday live on the air. I'm going to show it again today. If you come to my watch my show today from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern at www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. That's www.paulbegleyprophecy.com. I will show you this idol moving on film, on surveillance cameras, blowing everybody's mind. But the Bible said in Isaiah 19, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And we know that Egypt, the people lost confidence in Hosea Mubarak. The heart of Egypt failed. They got rid of him during the Arab Spring, which is actually the Antichrist spirit moving into the Middle East, which was prophesied by Daniel in Daniel 11, chapter 11, verses 41 through 45, when many nations shall be overthrown, including Egypt and Libya, and at the steps of Ethiopia. Well, when it says the steps of Ethiopia, I thought to myself, what is that about? Well, if you go back to Isaiah 19 and finish reading 6 verses, it tells you that the Egyptians will fight one against another, brother against brother, city against city, kingdom against kingdom, neighbor against neighbor, and that the council will be destroyed, which there was a 5-general governing council that ruled Egypt for 16 months after Hosea Mubarak fell. They were destroyed when the new president, Mohammed Morsi, came into power. Get a cup of coffee. Let me break this down for you for just a moment. When he came into power on his 6th day, he eliminated the governing council. He made them non-effective. He just fired them. He changed the constitution. He fired 70 governors. He replaced them with 70 Muslim Brotherhood clerics and members. And he became the fierce king, the cruel Lord, which is what the Bible says the Egyptians would get, a new fierce king, cruel Lord that would rule over them in the same chapter, Isaiah 19, verse 4. Then in verse 5, it says that the waters of Egypt would start to dry up. A famine would come, a drought. They're in a terrible drought right now. Their water table is way low. And then it says, verse 6, and they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds, the flags shall wither. And when I read that verse 2-3 years ago, I was saying, okay, I can see the fierce king, cruel Lord. I can see there's coming a new leader of Egypt. This is the burden of Egypt. I can understand a drought. But what do you mean by the rivers shall be turned far away? Well, folks, the Ethiopians are building a dam on the Nile River called the Renaissance Dam, and it will turn the river Nile away from Egypt. What? Again, fulfilling Isaiah chapter 19, verses 1 through 6. It's amazing. And I have an article right here. It was sent to me just a few minutes ago by James McKay. And it says, Egypt's president has warned Ethiopia that all options are open in dealing with its construction of the Nile Dam that threatens to leave Egypt with a dangerous water shortage. Speaking in a live televised speech before hundreds of supporters on Monday, Mohammed Morsi, the president, fierce king, cruel Lord of Egypt, of the Muslim Brotherhood, was not calling for war, but it is willing to confront any threats to its water security. What? So if it loses one drop, he said, our blood is the alternative. So what do you think that means? If Ethiopia goes forward with building the dam, Egypt is threatening war with Ethiopia. Now, go with me to Daniel chapter 11, verses 41 through 45, and you can read why. This is why the entire Arab Spring is actually a Muslim Brotherhood revival, because it was not an Arab Spring of democracy like the news media tells you or President Obama tells you. He called for every one of these leaders to be eliminated, and they have been. Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, Yemen, and soon Syria have all fallen to the hands of the Muslim Brotherhood regimes. Now, it said in Daniel 11, 41 through 45, it says these words. Verse 41, he shall enter into the glorious land. Who's he? An antichrist spirit. I heard Perry Stone even mention this last Thursday night at his conference in Louisville, Kentucky when I was there. It made me happy to hear another minister understanding this biblical prophecy. He shall enter also into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom and Moab and the chief children of Ammon. We know the children of Ammon are the children of Jordan. So Jordan will not fall, and they haven't. He shall stretch forth his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. We know that's true. But he shall have power over the treasures of the gold and the silver, and all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps. So Libya has fallen, Egypt has fallen, also Tunisia and Yemen, and he's at the steps of Ethiopia. It's over the dam, which then fulfills the prophecies of Isaiah 19. The Bible's coming to life before your very eyes. The biblical signs are taking place all around us, and yet people do not see it because the fluffy, puffy preaching that's going on in most of America's churches don't even want to discuss current world events and how they relate to Bible prophecy. But I must, as a preacher, an end times Bible preacher, an end time evangelist, I must preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to you and show you the times that we're living in. This is not a time for you to go off on an excursion, a backslidden fling somewhere. You better stay real close to God and understand the time we're living in, because we are truly in the last days. You better keep watching, for he's coming for them that are watching for his appearing and are looking for him to come the second time without sin unto salvation. That's why Jesus said, when you see these days approaching, to lift up your head, look up, for your redemption is drawing nigh. I'll be right back with more information in just a minute. Don't miss my show today. I'll show you that idol spinning live on our broadcast. Only there. I can't do it on YouTube. It would be a copyright violation. So I'll show it to you on my live show at my website today from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard